emergency's been declared. You're listening to ABC News.
News Radio 610 WTVN. I'm Sean Gallagher. Sunday will be a somber day for members of the Westerville Police Department as they remember two fallen officers.
This Sunday marks 1 year since two Westerville officers were killed in the line of duty. Eric Joring and Anthony Morelli. They were responding to a domestic situation on Crosswind Drive. Officer Joring was shot in the head and Officer Morelli in the chest. The accused shooter, Quentin Smith, is now in jail awaiting trial and could face the death penalty. He has pleaded not guilty.
ABC 6 reporting. Striking Wright State University professors traveled to the State House yesterday to seek support from Democratic lawmakers. The union representing the staff say they want better health care options. Talks have stalled after 2 years of negotiations. The Ohio House Democratic Caucus did send a letter to the university supporting the professors. Yesterday marked the 2-year anniversary of Reagan Tokes' murder, and one lawmaker wants to make sure what happened to Tokes doesn't happen again. The details from ABC 6's Ben Garbericht.
Representative Kristen Boggs has been working on the Reagan-Tokes Act that passed in December.
I don't know when it will happen again, but I can tell you that it will happen again if we don't address it.
But lawmakers delayed a decision about easing the workload of parole officers and expanding GPS monitoring of people after their release from prison. That's what state lawmakers will tackle this year.
Without these measures in place, I know that there's another victim out there right now doing something. And if we don't pass these measures, they may not be with us 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now.
Representative Boggs says this bill might be introduced in March, and she's hoping it might be passed into law by this summer.
Tokes was killed by Brian Goldsby, who was released from prison but was not properly monitored, even though he was wearing a GPS monitor. Your ABC 6 first morning weather forecast today, sunny but cold and a high of 28. Tonight we'll see clear skies and chilly temperatures as lows will drop into the mid to upper teens. And for Sunday, we'll see a rain-snow mix by the afternoon. Some light accumulation is possible. Highs will be in the upper 30s.
Hey, Matthew on Facebook, can you hear us?
I'm Sean Gallagher. More news at the bottom of the hour and on demand at 610WTVN.com.
Looking to buy a car? Online shopping can be confusing. Not anymore with True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know the exact price you'll pay for the car you want and see what other people paid for it too. When you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-333-1750. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750.
Live from LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. Pawpaw, 2 weeks away from Smith & Wesson Day. They're going to be right here with us. You can try some firearms out. I'm here. They even are bringing some ammo.
Are they going to have revolvers?
They're going to have revolvers.
Are they
going to have food?
I have not heard that yet.
I ask that every week.
I know. I have not heard that yet, but they are going to be here on site 2 Saturdays from now. You can come in, try out some of the beautiful Smith & Wesson firearms that we sell right here in the store. And that day, we're not charging tax. We're just not going to give it to them. We're just not going to give the government tax that day.
The heck with the state. Yeah.
You know that's going to result in an audit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, there is a tax-free Saturday for us on that day.
For Smith & Wesson's, right?
Yep. Only for that day, though.
Yeah,
so
only for that day.
If there's one that you've been considering and stuff, that would be the day to come
out
in and
shop
grab it.
now, and then you can show up on the 23rd and buy and save your 7.5% sales tax. That's excellent.
Yep, that is. Well, we are the owners of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and too often political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you the facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and our customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, for as much as I like talking about new products and training, one of my favorite topics we cover here on the show is talking about the hard facts about the industry. You know, the ones that the anti-gun establishment don't want you to hear because it goes completely opposite of what they tell you, and in the media too and stuff. So today, and especially nowadays, we were talking before the show with the House under new Democratic control. It seems like weekly we're seeing proposals and bills out there of just outrageous.
It's outrageous.
I mean,
it's outrageous.
It's unbelievable.
It's like they don't want to take care of the country and what needs to be done. They're spending all their time trying to take away your rights. Simple as that.
That's
Either
right.
that or, our president.
That's right, exactly. But at 1:30 today, we're going to go in-depth on a U.S. Department of Justice, a DOJ study. This is not a study from CNN or from Fox News, a DOJ study about how the bad guys obtain their firearms and how they're used in crimes. You're not going to want to miss it. That's up at 1:30. Before that, JC is going to have the Gun of the Week. And actually, I think, JC, this might be the oldest Gun of the Week we've ever had, or at least the oldest one we've ever had here in person.
This is Papa's first service pistol, I think. So
actually, I'm looking for a holster for it.
And in the pants would be impressive. So,
oh, yeah.
There you go.
That would be. You don't want to miss that. That's coming up at 1:15. And before that, Ronnie and JC will get you caught up on some of the news that is going around our industry. We'd like to thank our sponsors, though. Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, the Trigger Group, Blackwing Shooting Centers, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, and, of course, LEPD Training Facility, all for being a part of this show and making it happen every week. Joining me today in the studio, JC from the sales team. JC, we talked last week, and I know you missed last week. The proposals and the bills are just outrageous. Did you hear, JC? I don't know if you might have missed this last week, that Baltimore City schools have voted to disarm the school resource officers. So if you're an officer in Baltimore City schools and you're in one of the schools to protect them, you're no longer allowed to bring your gun into school.
Oh, isn't that nice? So that makes the kids feel,
Well, I think
there you go. Unarmed police officers. That's why we have baseball bats, cans of fruit, and rocks here.
But if he needs a firearm, he can get it from one of the students.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
During a locker check.
It's only fair that you make it fair for the shooter. He's at a disadvantage if that officer has a gun.
That way, absolutely nobody can defend themselves there. Yeah, how perfect.
I mean, I can't imagine any officer is going to want to go into that scenario and take that job. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Ronnie from Boom Boom Tactical System. Am I right? Ronnie, did I tell you? I don't know if I told you this, Ronnie. I know I told John yesterday. I have a gun coming in. I don't know if I told you this.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, you told me.
Yeah, the Hush Puppy?
The Hush Puppy.
Hush Puppy. I never heard of it. It's a new Hush Puppy.
New Hush Puppy, not the old ones.
So I thought those were shoes.
Our Vietnam veterans.
They're not shoes.
There.
I remember
they still are shoes. I still have an old pair of those someplace.
So the Hush Puppy, it was a throwback to the old Vietnam days when I think it was a Smith & Wesson 39. That they put a threaded barrel on, and they put a slide lock on it.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting it suppressed, the slide doesn't move. So it, in essence, makes it a single shot. You have to manually eject the round, but it makes it extremely quiet, as you can imagine, without the gases coming out the side. Well, Smith & Wesson, in conjunction with the Super Val, the firearm
ammo again. Yeah.
Right. They're coming out with a version of the M&P 2.0 that is set up like this.
Which they're calling the Hush Puppy.
So,
okay. Yeah. So what is the application for this firearm?
to quiet your dog while the enemy's dogs, while they're barking as your boat pulls up. That was basically what the Navy was using it for. So. Yeah, there you go.
But it's really neat. I mean, it really makes a suppressor. You know, if anyone has used a suppressor out there, you can still hear the action.
Well, it's going to be banned. Then the liberals get involved.
Well, you could just build it as a single shot semi-automatic.
There you
that
go.
ought to go through.
It looks evil to me.
There you go.
It looks evil.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Sitting to my left is my father and co-owner. Pablo, I know you've been on kind of a frenzy with buying stuff. This just came in last night. I wanted to show it to you first before we put it out there.
Man.
And I would, for those watching, I would lock the slide. Oh, it does lock back.
It locks back.
It does. There is.
Wow.
Is that nice?
Wow. That is really nice.
Made in Ohio.
It looks like it's brand new, Eric.
It's only been the gentleman fired one magazine through it.
Really?
Papa's holding a beautiful High Point C9.
So
C9,
why would he
Compact
ever
9.
get rid of that?
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why the guy traded
it
it.
doesn't look bad. I mean, it really,
I know.
No,
it
I
really
think it
is.
looks
made in
good.
Ohio.
For a high
Yeah.
point.
Lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
It's a little clunky,
And you need a gunsmith just to take it down and clean it. But hey,
every time we get these in, we don't sell them new. Occasionally, we get them in used. They're heavy.
They're heavy but where they are light is in the price. And there are just people out there that are in conditions where they cannot go out and afford a $500 or $600 pistol and still want to defend their families. And they work straight blowback, and they may be a little clunky, but
Phil,
I'd
you
rather
don't
have
have
that
one of those
than a
either.
baseball bat or a can of fruit or a rock like they're giving our schools.
What do you mean I don't have one of these, Ronnie?
You don't have a high point.
How do you know that?
I just know it.
Wait a second.
'Cause
And
it's
this
not
one
a revolver.
in the box, guys, has a ghost ring sight. You can put on it.
Right.
Dude,
There
have you ever
go.
seen it with that on there?
No.
It's just not right.
It's just not right.
So it's here for sale if you've been in the market for
I
one.
mean,
Actually, it does look brand new.
The sights are
it looks
great.
new.
And if it
and I can
fails-
tell you that it's probably accurate.
If it fails and you throw that at somebody, you're going to hurt them.
It's probably better than the box of rocks.
You'll probably get sued if you throw it.
Yeah, that's true.
It is
No,
solid.
It's solid.
Yeah.
It is solid. I think it would dampen the recoil. And again, I've had people in my classes that they just look at the prices of guns and they really can't afford them. And this is a way to
I
protect
think you had to
themselves.
set that up with a
check it out.
with
Yeah.
a
Now,
tripod or something.
If they did go at that, a couple little feed ramp tweaks, and you've got yourself a reliable
All kidding
gun.
aside, it is extremely heavy, and I just don't know why they still continue to make it a single stack magazine. I mean, for that big of a firearm, it's still a small single stack magazine, but I guess
There you
that's
go.
what makes it what it
But
is.
it's got the low price. So
That's
there you
right.
go.
Well, if you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. That's at 610WTVN.com. We're also on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and now Google Podcasts is one of my favorite places to listen to the show. And Facebook Live is where we're at right now, too. It's kind of neat. You can see everything go down live. You can see the gun of the week sitting right there on the front of the table. And you can hear some of the conversation between the commercials. Facebook Live is where it is, and also it is uploaded to YouTube shortly thereafter. So all kinds of ways to catch it if you miss it during the show.
Eric,
Paul.
every time, I guess it's just us old guys to pick up on this, but when you say iTunes, I can't help but remember back to our cartoons.
Looney Tunes
that
is
were
what you're
Looney
thinking
Tunes.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I thought now that you're an iPhone user, iTunes would know what that is because it's on your phone now.
No, I just keep wondering why we're on as a cartoon when you say that.
Did you see him the day I FaceTimed him what do you call that?
Yeah.
What do you call that?
What do you call that?
I don't know what you call it, but I call him and he picks it up and looks at it, goes to put it down, and he's like, "Oh, wait a second."
I missed that. Also, guys, if you have the Alexa at home, you can say, "Hey, Alexa, listen to iHeartRadio, 610 WTVN."
Yeah,
And why not? It listens to everything you do already.
Yeah. And I told you that I have mom for that, Eric.
That is perfect.
Hey, Linda.
Linda, turn on the radio. Linda, fetch me a beer.
So try Alexa doing that.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I'm talking about.
He'll be back at my place tonight.
Oh, you got that right.
That's right. So, guys, before we get to the news, we're going to talk about a couple things to pass along. We talked about the Smith & Wesson Day that's coming up on the 23rd. Don't want to miss that.
No.
And what else we have? Oh, next week, we are a sponsor of the Columbus Firefighters versus Columbus Police hockey game. It's before the OSU game, It's a great fundraiser. They already sold over 5,000 tickets. It's at the Shot. Definitely a worthwhile place to check out. I think it starts at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I saw those blue jerseys for the police. They look
Isn't that sharp?
Really good. Really good.
But they're going to get hurt. Didn't you, Eric, play football one time for the?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some big guys there.
Oh my word!
There's some big, crazy guys that
everyone thought I was overly athletic as I was scoring for the touchdown. The truth be known was I was running for my life.
Yeah.
Because some of those guys, if they would have caught up to
that?
me,
these guys
at high school.
Oh, okay.
These guys play with reckless abandon. They do.
Well, a lot of them were they've been ex-college players and everything else, so they were pretty darn good athletes.
Out for blood.
Flag football down at Berliner.
Oh yeah.
It was not Berliner then, but we'd have guys from Ohio State playing there, and it was a lot of fun.
I'll tell you, flag football is pretty rough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That can be a little rough. JC, we have a couple minutes for news.
All right, a bunch of stuff. I know Ron's got some stuff too. Unfortunately, most of the stuff is bad, but this was interesting. Okay, New Jersey. Okay, on December 10th of 2018. Okay, so a little over 2 months ago, New Jersey ban went into effect on high-capacity magazines. So if you had any magazine that held over 10 rounds, no matter what year of vintage it was, you were not allowed to own it. It had to be turned in, destroyed, shipped out. So in New Jersey, there's over 1 million gun owners there. So you can imagine the number of people that, this went into effect, and as of that time, you had to turn them in. So
where did they put all the ones they turned in?
Well, you could put them about anywhere because zero have been turned in to the state police or any. They did a survey. No one's ever turned them in. So it's like the state of New Jersey with 1 million gun owners, and it's punishable. It's considered to be a 4th-degree felony, punishable by a maximum of $10,000 fine and up to 18 months in prison. And it went into effect on the December 10th of 18, and 0 have been turned in. So
and JC, we talked about this, the high cap mag ban. We're close to releasing the video. We did a really neat little demonstration here with shooting 20 rounds out of a Glock 19 versus shooting 2 10-round mags accurately, and to see the difference on how effective can you be with the mag change in the middle. And we looked at it this morning again. It was 1.2 seconds difference.
1.2 seconds difference, and with the mag change added 1.2 seconds.
The thing that was really, for me, that really jumped out is the trainer that was doing it. We had a set of a camera on his glasses, so you were seeing that first-person perspective. And in the entire time he's doing the mag change, the target is still in sight.
Yeah, it looks like it didn't change. He did all that while staring at the target. So.
Right, and so it doesn't take much. I mean, the whole moral of the story was it doesn't take much to do that mag change and be effective.
We had one of our guys do that.
That guy right there.
That guy.
Hey, there he is. Come on camera here.
Yeah, so we're going to be releasing that soon. So. Well, we better jump to break here, and when we come back, JC is going to have the gun of the week. We're going to get to one story that Ronnie has prior to that. When we come back, it's going to be an old gun of the week. You won't want to miss that. We're on target.
Done by an old person.
There you go. Broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back.
Joel Riley and Columbus's Morning News.
Monday morning, is there enough room for Ohio State Buckeye football, arena football, and the XFL starting in 2020? We'll explore it, plus week 6 of More Money. We'll kick off another grand in your hand. 610 WTVN.
Hi, we're the Gore family, owners of Blackwing. That's right, Blackwing is family-owned and operated.
But Rex, what does that mean to our guests?
It means we're flexible. We listen and adjust to the needs of our guests.
Mark, what else does that mean?
It means their hard-earned money stays right here in their community because we support many local non-profit organizations and businesses.
Why? Because we care about you and our community.
Let us take you under our wing because that's what family is for.
Isn't it time to visit the family? We'll see you soon at Blackwing.
If you're in the market for high-end kitchen knives, tactical blades, or shaving supplies,
what kind of temp do you have there?
The professionals.
25.
Hey, if I leave my mic open, it's not going to mess you up, right? Because you'll cut it off when you get to the...
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Much more. Their one-on-one service and commitment to helping you find the right knife for your needs is unsurpassed. Stop by and see your friends at River's Edge Cutlery. That's riversedgecutlery.com. Recommended by LEPD Firearms.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Burgundy.
Check. Check, is this on?
Episode 1 of the Ron Burgundy podcast is available to download or play right now on iHeartRadio.
I want to be upfront with you. We're going to make some mistakes along the way.
Open the free iHeartRadio app and listen or download for later.
We can edit that out, right?
Lots of hard-hitting questions.
If a woman dumps you, can you have her arrested?
And lots of laughs. The Ron Burgundy Podcast. Listen to episode 1 right now. Your music, your stations, your podcasts, always free. iHeartRadio.
Your ABC 6 first warning weather. For today, lots of sunshine, dry and cold though, high of 28. For tonight, clearing skies and chilly temps, low of 16. For Sunday, rain-snow mix is possible in the afternoon. Some light accumulation is possible, high of 37. Currently 25 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Keeping you connected to Columbus. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Okay, guys, here it comes. Do you know who sings this? Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric. Joined today in the live LEPD studios with Ronnie, who makes up Boom Tactical, JC from the sales team, my father, and co-owner Phil. Guys, that's kind of threw you off on that one because it was Sheryl Crow singing an old. I thought that was, singing an old.
Sheryl Crow, but
Guns N' Roses.
Lance's old girlfriend, isn't it?
Used to be.
We found out too. Scott and I found out we both had something in common. We both greatly admired her.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I greatly admired her as well.
Still do.
We got to get Janis Joplin on there.
You need to call Scott before 1 o'clock on Saturdays.
Well, hey, Scott knows who's the boss. I could throw yours out and put mine in.
That's right.
Well,
today we're talking about, actually up next here is the Gun of the Week. Before that, though, Ronnie, you had two pieces of news that were definitely worthwhile that you...
Oh, yeah, just one real quick one. In Chicago where the killings and stuff are higher than anywhere else, they are proposing a new bill that gun buyers must reveal their public social media accounts to the Illinois police before they are approved for a firearms license.
And it just follows what they did in New York, where they want you to give your passwords to the police to all your internet.
Yeah, and so what happens if you do that and they find out you're a big Trump supporter? Are you never?
It's incredible.
Well,
and
who the heck is going to give your
And Ronnie, that's a perfect story to tee up what we're talking about at the bottom of the hour, about how do criminals get their guns. The guns that are ending up in the crimes on the streets, where are they coming from? And you'll find out it's not the good people who are ending up with buying these guns at stores. Yeah.
Yeah, and here, the left wants to grab all our guns. They want to take our guns away because then everything will be great. No crime, no nothing. Well, they tried it in England, and fatal stabbings have reached the highest level on record, according to new figures revealing the scale of Britain's knife crime crisis. So it's still murder, still killing, still...
Bad people do bad things.
And you know what? I think I'd rather be shot with a gun than gutted with a knife.
Hacked up with a knife, yeah.
So on a good note, though, JC has the Gun of the Week this week is sponsored by, I don't know who is sponsored by, to tell you the truth, JC, but you have it, huh? I don't know.
But it is sponsored, though, right?
It is sponsored. I think it's by our good friends over at Rampart. Oh, right there, LEPD Training. Jeez, how could I forget that?
So we sponsor it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today it was.
We don't know that we sponsor it.
Nobody else wanted to touch it.
So it slipped my mind. But this one is really neat, JC.
It's great because we all love our pistols. I mean, revolvers are one thing, and we know that Papa loves revolvers. I really love them, too. But this is a pistol, and everybody loves a good pistol. And this is a good old pistol. So, by the way, in case you don't know, anything that is not a revolver is a pistol. And this certainly falls into that category. This is the model 1819 U.S. pistol. So the U.S. military pistol of 1819. And it was made by Simeon North, who's a gun maker from Connecticut. Well, so what? What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is he is the first official pistol maker for the United States of America. He made pistols for the government for 30 years, from 1799 to 1829, and he was the big kahuna in the pistol making. He made plenty. I was shocked, but the guy was incredible. He signed a contract in 1813 with the government to produce 20,000 pistols, but this is the first contract in the United States where they said all the parts have to be interchangeable. So in the field, if something was wrong and you had a broken one, you could take the parts off. It was the first time, and no one had done that. Everything was handmade before this. So he also invented the first milling machine about 1816. They figured that, but the first man to invent a milling machine in order to complete these contracts. So that was really pretty cool. The one we have here is the model of 1819, which is considered to be, most people like, the second most beautiful of our pistols. A lot of people call them horse pistols. Single shot, they are flintlocks. This one's got a 10-inch barrel. It's 52 caliber. Before this time, they were 69. They shot the same round ball that the muskets did, and they said, with the same load, and they said it was ferociously horrendous in firing it, and oftentimes the stock broke with one shot. So
this one has automatic features.
Oh,
too.
there you go. Well, this, but they reduced the bore size from 69 caliber down to 52 caliber, cutting it down from a 1 ounce to a half-ounce slug, still getting the job done. Well, this is interesting on this pistol, and that's one of the, we have it from a collection. It is for sale. We have it on Gunbroker. It's a rare piece. But they used to have ramrods, of course, to load these. Well, the recoil was so much that the hickory ramrods would go shooting out of the gun under recoil, falling out. So this is the first gun in the United States to have a secured ramrod that is hinged underneath, and it would not fall out when you're on your horse or running around. You had the ability to not lose that. The other thing is, it's the first one, it's a flintlock with a safety. So you put the pistol on half cock, put the safety on, and one of the reasons was that being a flintlock, you put your powder down here, well, if you can see it, but you put your powder under the frizzen, and the flint strikes the frizzen makes a spark, lights the powder in the pan, and burns into the barrel to go. Well, to keep it from going forward and pushing the frizzen up and having your powder go, so you go to fire it and there's no charge in there. So what you did was you loaded it, you put the frizzen down, you put it on half cock, and you put your safety on. So it actually had a safety. I just think that's absolutely incredible.
All right, John, I have a question.
Yes.
Not necessarily about the firearm, but you said that this person, what's this guy's name that made him?
Simeon North, North.
And he invented a milling machine?
He invented the first milling machine that they know of in the United States. He invented the milling machine.
What powered the milling machine?
Water. He all these places in Connecticut were water powered, and his brother started a watch.
Had him stumped.
His brother started one. It was also his last name, of course, North. Upstream a little bit from him to make clock parts, but this was powered by water. Now, this particular model that we have, I can tell you, the barrel maker or the barrel tester on this was named John D. Johnson, and his initials are on the barrel. And then you look on the stock, it's got a cartouche over there, and they list the 7 or 8 people that actually were inspecting those. And ours is done by Luther Sage. There's an LS in script on here, easily seen. So this is a fantastic piece of Americana. It's in just great shape.
Looks like a shotgun barrel.
I just love it. It's just really pretty cool.
John, we can tell, John. We can tell.
Yeah. You know what? John has a way of selling me on something that's been sitting in the cabinet here for a month. I mean, now that I know all those things, kind of like that.
I didn't actually know this existed. I wonder what that was. I had to go do the research, and it's a safety. So I thought, how cool is that? Anyway, we have it here. They're rare. They're a rare piece. So stop in and see it. Stop in and buy it.
And 200 years old.
Yeah.
And John, you think that's still functional, right?
I think it is, especially if you use it as a club on the end. That's why they put the big metal ball on there.
Yeah. So now this year it's a model 1819. Be a perfect
model
year.
1819. Yeah, the lock on it does say 1821. So that's a model of 19. But this was made in in 1821.
Wow. Good gun of the week, JC.
Great
That is a good gun of the week. I have it next week, and we'll have
By
to
the way,
see.
initially they cost $8 a piece. That was the contract for us. So,
Really?
Yeah, so there you go.
So that's why we're selling it for $16, doubling our money. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the stats just released by the Department of Justice on how the bad guys get their firearms. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Hey guys and girls, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sharon Trobner, neurobrain mapping expert. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this station, you've probably heard of Limitless, the potent, all-natural brain booster pill. As a brain mapping expert, people constantly ask me if Limitless really works to improve memory and concentration, or is it just another scam? Good news, I can tell you that Limitless really works and is an amazing breakthrough supplement that can make you feel unstoppable. I recommend Limitless to anyone looking for a competitive advantage at the office, school, or play. Just take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll notice a huge boost in memory and an extreme focus. That's almost not fair. So call Limitless now and find out how to get a free bottle.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-681-9429. That's 800-681-9429. Get your free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-681-9429, 800-681-9429.
News, traffic, and weather for Columbus. News Radio 610, WTVN.
News Radio 610 WTVN. I'm Sean Gallagher. Ohio this week issued its first citation for misusing the state's new medical marijuana law. The Ohio Medical Marijuana Advisory Committee said the citation was issued after receiving a complaint from a child services agency. The citation was given after the patient failed to secure the product from being accessible to minors, which is a requirement under the law. The committee did not release the name of the patient who was found breaking the law, but did say their privileges to buy medical marijuana had been suspended pending an appeal. Ohio State men's basketball will seek its third straight win when they face Indiana at Assembly Hall tomorrow afternoon. Tip-off is scheduled for 1 o'clock. Your ABC 6 first morning weather forecast today, sunny but cold, a high of 28. Tonight, clear skies and chilly temperatures. The low will drop to 16. I'm Sean Gallagher. For breaking news and weather alerts instantly, follow us on Twitter at 610 WTVN News.
This is Eric with LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. If you're a business owner in need of a personalized gift for your employees this season, CNS Engraving is one-stop shopping for all your engraving needs. From promotional items to customized products to unique OSU licensed gifts, the quality of work from CNS is simply the best in Central Ohio. Want to make your firearm unique, or do you need an NFA item engraved? Do what we do and call our good friends at CNS Engraving, 614-929-2726. Come see their work at LEPD or stop by their storefront in Powell.
Are you thinking about making your first firearm purchase or looking to add to your collection? Stop by and check out over 200 used firearms in stock at LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility on Bethel Road. From modern pistols, old revolvers, to classic rifles, you'll find a wide variety with inventory changing daily. Check out their current used inventory at lepd.com or stop by the store and experience the best holster selection in Central Ohio. Great deals are waiting for you at LEPD, 999 Bethel Road, or on the web at lepd.com.
Live from LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios with my father and co-owner, Phil. Sits to my left. JC from the sales team sits to my right, and Ronnie from Boom Boom Tactical sits beside him. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see all of us right there. You can see the gun of the week and all the fun stuff that goes on during the commercials. And if you want to jump in on the conversation, anytime, 614-821-9886. Scott will answer the phone and get you on with us. So, guys, you know, we always talk about, you hear it all the time now from the media, from politicians, from anti-gun groups, we need to ban, and you just fill in the blank. I mean, it's bump stock, it's high cap mags, it's flash hiders, bayonets, bayonet lugs, idiots from getting guns, you name it, but we need to ban it. And, you know, if society is serious about decreasing gun violence, about stopping the bad guy from committing guns or crimes with guns, we need to first and foremost fix what is necessary, and that is keeping the guns out of the hands of the bad guys. But, you know, one of our trainers here, one of our tenured trainers, he hits the nail on the head, and he said, you know what? As a society, we have not been hurt bad enough yet to want to do something. That's gonna change our behavior. We do all these things. We need to ban this, but we're not there yet where we say enough is enough with the school shootings or whatever it is, and we need to take these steps. So today we're going to take a step back, and we're going to look at a Department of Justice study that just came out in January. And it's kind of neat because these studies have actually been going on since the 1970s. I think 1970s when they first started. And this particular one surveyed a bunch of prisoners who used firearms in the commission of their crimes, and it got to the root of how they're actually getting the firearm. So we should all be taking a step back and learning from this, because ultimately, if we make it difficult for the bad guy to get the firearm to commit the crimes, then we're starting to impact some of these differences. So, JC, tee us up a little bit on some of the particulars of what this was.
Well, again, these surveys take a very long time. It's not just that the government is slow, but it just released from a 2016 survey. They surveyed over 1.3 million state and federal prisoners. That's a lot of folks. Of those, they estimate that 287,400 of these prisoners had possessed a firearm during their offense. So, and from there on, when we go into the statistics about how they got these firearms, it's oftentimes the opposite of what the news media and what the opposing party and that want you to think. They want to just taint it, and it's just not the case.
It's just not the truth. And so of these stats, JC, about 21% of the prisoners that were interviewed used a firearm in some capacity in the commission of the crime.
Yeah, they possessed it. Not necessarily used it, but they possessed it. But what gets me is where do they get these guns? Okay,
right.
Well, people are saying, we got to crack down on the gun stores. We got to crack down on the gun shows. 1.3% of the prisoners obtained their gun from a retail source. Retail could be a pawn shop or a regular gun store, or could be a gun show. But when they looked at actually specific gun shows, less than 1%, 0.8%. So they're not going to the gun shows, which are heavily policed, and just because you buy it at a gun show doesn't mean you don't go through a background check either. A lot of people want you to believe that, but that is not the case. So gun shows are not where they're getting them, and retail stores, 1.3% is not where they're getting them. That leaves like 97% of the guns are coming from someplace else. So where are they?
So let's take a step back for a second and see. So of these criminals that we know are using the guns in commissions of a crime, 88% of them who had a firearm on them at the time were handguns.
Yep.
Which
makes sense.
Probably 75% of the rhetoric you hear in the media and with the politicians is we need to ban assault weapons, whatever that may be.
Whatever that means.
But the criminals right here are the vast majority are using a handgun. So right there you can see, okay, well, if we're banning a long gun, that's not going to impact the most change because that's not what they're using. So, as you start to delve into this, you see some of those things that are just glaring. Of the ones who possessed a firearm during the crime, half of them, 46%, just under half, either killed someone, injured someone, or fired the gun during the commission. So about half the time that they had it on them, they used it. Which is scary.
Very scary.
Yeah, so that's just not, hey, I have it on me and it's a threat. They used it in some capacity and pulled the trigger.
So the folks that want to take you as a legal citizen, take your stuff away, that still leaves the people who aren't following the rules. And when they come in, half of the time they use it. So that's scary. That's very scary.
Right.
They actually killed somebody over a quarter of the time. So 27% of the time when they were used, it was a fatal shooting. So the criminals actually killed somebody that much, which is a lot. So
right. So let's jump. Actually, before we go further, let's jump to Kevin, who's on line one. Kevin, you're on with OnTarget. How are you?
Hey, I really enjoy your show. I listen to you guys every weekend.
Great. Thank you.
So yeah, you're welcome. Hey, kind of off the subject, but it's on guns. First of all, I think you guys need to consult CNN if you want to get the truth about gun violence.
We're going to have to start doing that. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a good tip.
Yeah, you're welcome. Maybe MSNBC, too. They're pretty good. But,
yeah.
Anyway, I bought I think in 2013, I bought a Yeah. Oh, okay. I bought an AK-47 for Century Firearms, or it might have been
Century
later years
Arms.
than that, but it was a C9 model, and it's got a milled receiver. And right out of the box, that thing was really, really accurate, but it's not a surplus gun. I do have a surplus SKS, but what my question was is, other than that brand new AK-47 and the SKS, which was a surplus Chinese Norinco, what other guns, surplus guns? I would love to have an M1 Garand, but those are expensive. But what other surplus guns or rifles, military stuff, would you recommend, whether they're British or foreign or whatever?
Kev, there's a lot out there. JC, I know you probably have a couple off the top of your head.
We have a couple of our shows, but you know, if you can find, you know, snap up the 03A3 is why you get a chance. I mean, they truly are a target rifle. I have a passion for those, but I also, if you can get a hold of the Enfields, there's a great, none of them are fun to shoot, but there's a great variety of the British short magazine Lee Enfields out there, the SMLEs, and they're still around. They're even less expensive than the others. They're just fun to shoot. They're historical, and they are great. And there's as far as the Mausers, the K98s, the World War II stuff has been pretty much snapped up, but there's a lot of Mausers that were remade after those wars, Model 24s, Model 48s, things like that. If you can get a hold of those bold action ones, but they are a hoot. They kick like a mule, and you'll be surprised that they even shot them during the war. They hurt so much.
What do you think about the Mosin Nagant too?
Oh, the Mosin Nagant is fantastic. I mean, they used to be dirt cheap, but I've got a couple of those. They you got some recoil with those. They weren't shy about that, but they're accurate and they are fun. So it's the oldest cartridge still being used by any military, over 130 years old now, I think.
Wow. Well, the M1.
Yeah, do you guys sell them at your place?
If we can get them, but we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much all dried up as far as importation goes. So you got to pick what's still around.
We get them occasionally on trade.
And you also want to try an M1 carbine. Those are fun to shoot.
And those are getting super expensive now, but those are a hoot also. So they're still out there. They're legal, and good luck when you get those.
And Kevin, one place to check our inventory.
Yeah,
if you go to our website under inventory, we post out there almost weekly our current list of firearms. It's a great place to see if something snuck in the door this week. It's a great place to keep perusing and stuff from time to time.
Yeah, there and gun shows are your best bet, Kevin.
I will absolutely do that. I thank you guys very much. I love it.
All right. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks for calling in. So, guys, we're going to jump to a break. When we come back, JC started to talk about it. Where are the bad guys getting their firearms? You're going to be surprised. And what can we do to stop it? That's what we need to talk about.
Absolutely.
Now that we identified how they're getting it, what can we do to stop it? We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Putting the smart in your smart speaker.
Hey, Alexa, set an alarm to play 610 WTBN on iHeartRadio every day at 6 a.m.
Hey, this is Paul from OnTarget. Around the store, I'm known as a tough guy and the enforcer. I usually don't do commercials. However, when it comes to our new sponsor, Toyota West, I told Eric this is all mine. Since the late 1980s, I have been going to Toyota West for all of my new car and truck purchases. They
what
are
kind of
located
temp you
at
got there,
270
Scotty?
in Georgesville Road. My main man there is Dean, who has been with the dealership over 13 years. That's
still holding at 25.
25. Hey, was that just an accident sending the caller thing through text, or was there an issue with Facebook?
Go visit Toyota West. Tell them
I couldn't get my Facebook to open.
Okay,
so
that's
sorry,
fine.
dude.
No, that's fine. I saw it pop up. So
yeah, you're good.
All right, cool.
But
Locally owned and operated. And Angie's List Super Service Award winner. Jackson Egress Windows can change your dingy basement into something special that will add value to your home. Whether you're looking to add an extra bedroom or game room or just a place to hang out, call Jackson Egress Windows for an estimate today. 614-260-5130. See examples of their work at jacksonegresswindows.com.
Your ABC6 first warning weather. Today, lots of sunshine, dry and colder though, high of 28. For tonight, clear skies and chilly temps, low of 16. For Sunday, there's a chance of a rain-snow mix in the afternoon. Some light accumulation is possible, high of 37. It's still currently 25 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610, WTVN.
Information 24/7 and on demand at 610WTVN.com. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Since I left, feeling better, 'cause that's what you get when you stay together too long, and I can't cry anymore.
This is what I feel like after the watching the news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today with JC from the sales team, Ronnie, who makes up Boom Boom Tactical, my father, co-owner, sits to my left, Scott on the records back at the station, another Cheryl Crow. I was listening to her in the gym last night and stuff. That's kind of what prompted everything. But the one, I can't remember the name now, the Sunshine, oh, my word. It kind of reminded me of the springtime. So that's the,
well, yeah, we need a little of that. It looks a little sunny out there right now.
It was sunny out there.
Temperature-wise nice. Not, but yeah, it's on the way.
So, guys, we're looking at what a criminal does to get a firearm. And the Department of Justice put out a study last month, actually. It was actually from 2016, just now got published. And it really got to the heart of how the bad guys are getting their guns. And it's contrary to what you see in the media, what you hear from the politicians. So we wanted to take a moment and really talk about that and talk about what we can do as safe, responsible firearm owners to help influence the violence that we're seeing in the streets and in the schools and so forth. So let's get to the heart of this, JC. So of the criminals that had a firearm during the commission of their crime, 56% of those were stolen in some way.
56%.
56%. I mean, not a week goes by here where we don't have a customer come in and say, hey, I just got a firearm stolen, or I know someone, or I tell you what, in this, it's tough to hear, but so many of it is being stolen out of cars. And I, for the life of me, don't understand why, as a safe, responsible firearm owner, you would not secure that firearm in the car if you're not in it.
Right.
I don't understand it.
Leaving it it's just an open opportunity for
here's a
to
thought. If you're a firearm owner, and presumably you're doing this legally and you have your concealed carry and you have it in your car, does it not make you sick to think of that firearm in the hands of a bad guy doing bad things? Because that's what you're doing by leaving it unsecured in your car.
Yeah.
Papa, you had two stories.
Well, I have two stories here, but I also wanted to say something. I was one of those people that had a firearm in my vehicle. It was secured. I mean, first of all, it was hidden. It was locked up. Even if you did find it, it was locked up because I've been carrying a firearm for probably over 50 years. And when you're used to that, you always want to have one at hand. So I kept one in my truck. But over a couple years ago, I took it out. It's not worth it, and my truck sits out. So
exactly.
Yeah, and it sits out. But
it's not to say you can't have it in your vehicle in a lockbox. We sell a ton of lockboxes. They're not expensive. Lock it up, Ronnie.
Well, and a lot of times I won't go places that I can't have my gun on me. You know what I mean? Just
true.
So I don't have to leave it in the car.
But you don't go home at night and go in and leave your truck sitting out there. And
I do leave my truck sitting out there,
but with
not
a gun
with
in
a
it.
gun in
Yeah,
it.
that's what we're talking
and you know
about.
what? And
people have
Matthew on
unsecured.
Facebook just made a good point. The car is not a holster.
Yeah.
I mean,
There
seriously,
you go.
know,
Like that,
Papa, two
The car
stories
is
that
not
will
a holster.
make you sick.
Two
Guys,
stories.
listen to this.
Well, this was an officer that was killed by someone who has stolen a firearm. He was a Mobile police officer, and he was killed by a firearm that was stolen out of a vehicle.
Out of a vehicle.
Yep.
Right there. And then I think last week in Columbus.
In Columbus.
What's that one?
It was. It says the heading of the story is deputies' stolen gun was used in the fatal shooting, and it was it was a firearm that was in a vehicle that was stolen, or not the vehicle, the firearm was stolen out of the vehicle.
Guys, if they're stealing the gun out of the car, they're doing it to use it in a crime.
And if they use it in a crime, we just told you 27% of the time it involves a fatal shooting.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. We need to get serious as being the responsible gun owners. So let's talk about another topic that's hard to talk about sometimes. Almost 10,000 firearms a year are stolen from gun stores.
10,000.
We had it just happen this week in Plain City. The gun store there had a smash and grab. went through the wall of the store. 5 guys. This isn't a, hey, let's just, off the cuff go rob a gun store. This is a cased out. They know they're going to hit. If you're in the firearms business and you're selling firearms either at a store or out of your house, you have a responsibility to keep those out of the hands of the bad guy. It's not just about having insurance and, if they get stolen, the insurance will pay for it. You have an obligation. You need to look around at those firearms and say, how am I going to feel if this ends up on the street shooting a family member of mine, shooting an officer? Now, there's circumstances. I mean, you can only do so much. I mean, you can do something.
But you can do something.
And there's so many times you see that things are stolen, firearms are stolen, and the guns weren't locked up.
They weren't locked up, and they're in a building that
unsecured.
That the walls are paper thin.
Right.
That you could drive a bicycle through it, to break in. You have to secure. You have to be responsible.
You have to.
You have to be responsible.
We have to, or else the result is we continue to get the politicians and the anti-gun people who don't know, who are calling for these outrageous things. When the result is we need to do what we can to keep them out of the hands of the bad guy. And we've talked about this how many times? 4,000 times a year. 4,000 times. So think about how many 4,000 guns in the hands of criminals are let through the hands of the NICS background check system because it can't figure out how to determine if the guy is prohibited user or not. 4,000 times. That's ATF stats.
And then they try to go back.
They have to go back and
try to retrieve the firearm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we need to step up and start to do. Now, we plug all those holes, then we can go back and you can look at the gun show and the 0.08% of the time or the flea markets and everything else.
And right along with that, we've said this time and time and time again, we have no gun dealer has any way of checking to see if the firearm that comes in on a trade or anything has been stolen.
Right.
We have
incredible.
And it's got to be incredible. It's
and how
required
easy
by every state to report them to the police.
How easy would that be?
Database.
How easy would that be to establish a database?
And guys, we've said this before. Establish the database. Give it to everyone. Don't just give it to the gun stores. Give it to everyone. So imagine yourself buying a firearm off of Arms List or at a gun show, and you're getting ready to make the purchase, and you say, hold on one sec. Let me run this serial number through the database to see if it's stolen. Do you not think that the bad guys, they're going to think twice about these outlets for selling them in?
And that wouldn't take much. All you need is a phone app,
It's easy. I mean, put it in the hands of the private sector, we'll have it done. Keep it in the hands of government, and it's the same discussion year after year after year. John, you're on with OnTarget. How are you, sir?
Hello, you there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just to comment on keeping the guns in the vehicles and stuff. With all the pretty much the prohibited carry places that you got to go, or the people with the signs at the windows, I understand how it is for somebody to just take their gun off, throw it under the seat, run into what they need to do, run out. I mean, it's kind of a problem to actually, if you got 5 or 6 places you got to go to like lock that up in the trunk and do all that different stuff. And then I have a feeling that if the gun gets thrown out of the vehicle, it's probably just going to get taken anyway.
Right. Well, a lot of those gun boxes now are you lock it to the vehicle, but that's not to say you can't cut it and take the whole darn thing. It's just, there's a lot of neat things in the trunk now that you can do and secure it quickly in the trunk.
But there's a lot of locking things that not everyone carries wire cutters and things like that where they're breaking in your car in a snatch and grab. But leaving them, unfortunately, we've heard a lot of people who leave them in their car overnight and come out and someone smashed and gone through their car and have taken their firearms. So,
and John, you're absolutely right. It goes back to the more that we can get more of these places to allow the safe, responsible firearms owner to come in the store and not have these crazy signs on the door. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. You go to a mall, and if you can't bring your gun in, well, what are you supposed to do?
But one of the things about
I always keep it on me. I know it's secure.
Yep, exactly.
But that's right. Get a concealed handgun license, get training on safety, how to carry it with you. When you get out of the car, it goes with you. When you get in the car, it's there. Right. So, but you're not leaving it unattended. So.
Yep. Well, thanks for the call, John. And we definitely, it's definitely a conversation worth having. And with all of us smart, responsible people doing it, I'm sure we can get to something that can make an impact.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Papa, what else you got? You got anything else in your wisdom?
Nothing in my wisdom.
All right. So if you look at one last stat here, JC, when you look at the amount of people who purchased the firearms legally who end up using them in a crime, here's something that's kind of interesting. They said that 10% of them used their own name when they purchased the firearm. So that's either one, that the guy wasn't a criminal at the time, which could be. I mean, that could be. Or two, maybe there's something there with the background system like we've talked about.
And what we've also talked about before, and this also kind of amazed me, is the percentage of people that actually get prosecuted. If you were a criminal and you go in and they give you a denied on your form, or if you have purchased one, and there are a lot of people who get them who have criminal backgrounds who ended up getting them. They don't go after them. They prosecute like less than what do we figure? It's around like 0.5% or something that they catch. So the criminals are going, hey, might as well try it. You can get a gun, and if they just deny you, nothing happens. You just walk out the door, even though it could be a violation of your parole or something like that. Yeah. But they don't prosecute these folks. So they're missing the boat on that too.
We talked about that as a straw purchase too.
Right, horrible on prosecution.
Yeah, but didn't they now make that a local?
It is. It's a state law. I think that's the one that starts in March.
They did pass that, and it's going to affect in March.
Yep.
Yeah, I think their percentage of where they got them from a family or friend, it was pretty low. It was around 2%.
Thanks for spending the last hour with us. Next week we're going to talk about. Actually, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about that. JC's birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, JC!
Thank you.
Happy birthday, JC.
Yeah, stop another year around the sun.
Stop by and see us. We're at 999 Bethel Road. Have a good week.
Hey, it's Mark Blazer for Nature Stone. Never replace your garage flooring again. Nature Stone reduces tracked-in dirt, eliminates puddling, standing water, and salt damage. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone. Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of February and get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today. Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, their true unconditional warranty. Like Mike says, it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
You know, Pella Windows and Doors is the most preferred window brand in Central Ohio. Hey there, Joel Riley, and it's easy to see why. So many options like triple pane glass or blinds between the glass. Functionality that keeps you warm now and cool in the summer, and what a great time to buy. You get up to 50% off qualifying installations today or 36-month payment options. Reach out, find them, and get plugged in. Stop by the showroom. Give them a call at 877-98-PELLA or just visit online. It's PellaColumbus.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad.
You there, Mr. Scott?
It simply means that something is awesome or cool.
Yes, sir, and we're rolling, so fire when ready.
All right, I'm going to kind of winging it this time. I guess that's what's different from any other week, right?
As in, I told you.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we keep you updated on all the firearm news, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by Toyota West. Tune in Saturday at 1 p.m. or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect
This is Eric
parent.
from OnTarget. This week we keep you updated on all the firearm news, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by Toyota West. Tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human
This is Eric
Services.
from OnTarget. This
Adopt
week we
US
keep you
Kids,
updated on all the
and the Ad
firearms
Council.
news, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by Toyota West. Tune in tomorrow.
In Central Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we keep you updated about all the firearms news, and I have the Gun of the Week sponsored by Toyota West. Tune in today at 1 p.m. or live from LEPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Supporters of Massachusetts Senator.
That was good, man. I thought you were going to get it. 3-take Jake.
I know it. I know it.
All right,
Cool.
bro. Those were good.
Hey, good. I have a feeling Popo's going to be hitting me up on Janis Joplin.
I was already doing some research. I got a couple for him. So.
All right.
See you, buddy. Have
See
a good
you.
week.
Yep.
Be safe.
Yep.
Not right. Ahead of the announcement, President Trump's re-election campaign released a statement calling her a fraud, citing past controversies over her claims of Native American heritage. There's controversy in several levels of the government in Virginia, where Governor Ralph Northam has resisted calls to resign over a racist photo from his medical school yearbook page. He says he's not in the photo. Also, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax being told to resign after a second woman's accused him of sexual assault.